print that she has up on the wall. It's nice. Come
I'm
on.
not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not Valiant.
It's not. But
Oh, well, we're live, just in case you didn't know.
I assumed as much. I got on at 8. I was trying to retag, or I was trying to retweet our link on Twitter to see if anybody was like, cool. I've just been waiting for that link to be retweeted. So I was like, I better do that.
I'm sure lots of people were waiting for that.
On the Twitter sphere, yes.
Yeah. Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I don't know what anybody calls it. I don't know. I don't know what the hip slang that the youngsters are using,
The Twitterverse, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Beats
I
me.
don't I don't twit, so
Well, that's good. It's just a shithole for like awful people. That's what I think of Twitter. Twitter's just full of awful people.
it's
Not
so
our fans, God damn it. Not our fans, but I'm just
yeah.
saying other people's fans of other podcasts. Those people fucking suck, okay?
Bunch of
Our
dick.
fans are awesome.
Funny. Um, so I like just read the books. Like I
You
just
just
read.
read them? I just read them too. My kids were watching How to Train Your Dragon, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to read the books this week because I've been busy. I just emptied out a storage unit of comics because I felt like I need to save money. So now my house is just turned into like a comic book shop. There's just boxes all over.
Yeah,
And
I noticed you selling off some stuff.
I'm continuing to sell off stuff. I just don't have enough room for all the hardcovers and trades anymore. And I can put the trades away, but I have the issues. I've got the digital issues. So for me, like as much as I love the hardcovers, I just think I could sell those. I could get rid of those. They're an easy thing to get rid of. Like every time I put them up, they most always sell. So
Yeah.
I
Sometimes even your co-hosts buy them.
that's right. Sometimes if you have an awesome co-host, he will buy them, even if you lie to that person and say that you'll ship them out the next day. But I had a really busy day, so it was hard to get stuff done. But I mean, like right now, I got 19 comic boxes in the dining room, and I've got like a whole row of like of them behind my couch downstairs, and then like a bunch of long boxes. It looks like the worst storage job ever. But I have a storage room in the house. I just have to rearrange it to be able to fit everything in and to appease my wife. So we'll just see. It's kind of hard to lose a room though, like that was just dedicated to comics and not nowhere else to put them.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it sucks. I finally feel like holy shit, I've got way too much of this stuff.
I think you should see a doctor because that sounds like a serious problem.
I bet there's at least 100 boxes. I'm gonna count them sometime this weekend.
So, yeah, if you need to just offload some of that cool stuff, especially anything Bloodshot or Batman related, let me know.
I sold the Batman book with the Bat Dick in it already.
I didn't even pick up a copy. My wife was telling me to. She's like, I'm sure
I,
this will be a collectible. And I was like, nah, I don't really care.
so like I thought it was like a stupid thing when people were like making such a big deal out of it. And then I saw like some like the Bleeding Cool article where it's like this book's selling for like $16, and I just thought, who gives a shit? And then it was like this book's selling for like $30, and then it just keep going up and up and up. And
Wow.
I had ordered it from DCBS, and then when it showed up, it was like the first thing I did was dig it out of the box. I checked it, I put up on another group and just sold it because I was like, I don't care, like I don't give a shit. It makes me want to read it even less.
Yeah, I literally just because I didn't pay enough attention to the articles coming out about it. So when I was at the comic shop and I saw it, I just picked it up to see what the hubbub was about. So I just flipped through it until I found that panel. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. But why the fuck are we talking about Batman?
All I know is like I mean, once I beat off to it, I was okay with it, and I just moved on. I mean, it wasn't really like a big deal. You see one dick, you beat off to one dick, you beat off to all of them.
You touched one dick, you've touched them all. This is perfect for our
Hey,
99th
just
episode.
remember, for anyone who meets me, if you ever shake my hand, my dick's been in it. So,
Yeah.
but no, I will say this. This is the only like serious thing I will say about the book. It does have some really nice art. Not that page, but like if you look through it, I mean, I think it's like Lee Bermejo who did the
Yeah.
art on it. It's fucking beautiful. But
It looks exactly like Batman Noel, which was also really dumb.
he did a one shot about the Joker. Him and Brian Azzarello did like a maybe it's like a graphic novel or something, and it looked nice. So I mean, I like his art, but to me, I just feel like if a book's worth that much money, just sell it.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I don't care. I'm not gonna buy it because here's another thing too. I'm not picking up the rest of the series. So hey, so enough Batman shit. Who cares?
Yeah,
Um, I know
exactly.
you, I know
So,
you do because you're a big Batman fan. That's why I say
yeah,
that.
because I clearly care so much about Batman Damned. I'm literally not even reading any Batman right now. I think the last Batman, what was the last Batman I was actually picking up? I have no idea. It's been a while.
I did see a teaser for something Batman related that I was like, I want to read that. And did you read any of I'm trying to think of his name, Sean Gordon Murphy's Batman White Knight run?
No.
Okay, because I guess he's doing a follow up and it's got Azrael in it. And I always liked Azrael a lot. So it's like, oh shit, I would probably pick that up at least one issue.
Yeah, that makes me care even less. I don't like Azrael.
Oh, come on, man.
So here's something of note that I think is worth mentioning. Jason actually has positive things to say about all the books this week. Jason Falter. Not that I think he's
You
like a
can be
negative
positive guys
Nancy.
sometimes. Come on.
No, I know he's not a negative Nancy, but he usually he tends to disagree with me on things where I'm clearly right, such as the Batman Blind issue, for example.
Well, I think the thing with Jason is that Jason's not just a dedicated Valiant fan. So he doesn't have to only like Valiant every single time.
Well, I
Like
don't think any of us have to. I mean, I hope
oh, I know.
nobody
But I'm
feels
just,
like
but
they
I'm,
like.
I'm just saying though. I think like he's not like whipped on it like we all are. We're just like, oh, we all love Valiant so fucking much. Like I think he's like, I like other stuff too a lot. So sometimes like that clouds his judgment. I'll just say that.
Perfect. Perfect. You hear that, Jason? uh, but so yeah, we've got three books to talk about this week. As far as anything else besides the books, I don't think that there was really any news or anything.
Not really. Just more stuff that I can't get. Like the Valiant released a lot of its information about what was going to get released at New York Comic Con, like all their exclusives,
Oh, sure.
and it's just another ridiculous amount of shit I can't get. So those pins look really nice. Like there's like
I
a
I'm tempted by those pins.
yeah, so it's like a 6 pack, I believe. It's just like the 6 pins. You just get them all. I think they look awesome, and it's like all the big main characters. There's a bunch of variant covers. There's merch, there's shirts and hats and shit. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. Valiant always goes all out at New York Comic Con. I think last year they did the Bloodshot Bear and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
But
Bloodshot Build-A-Bear.
yeah, I think it's badass. Wish I had one. Give it to my kid. But but yeah, I mean I think that was it. There's also like a new card game or something coming out, like a digital one. I didn't read anything on it because I don't plan on doing anything with it.
Yeah, I thought about downloading it and then I didn't, so because my phone is really full. So
Is it out already?
I think I saw people posting in Valiant Comic Fans about having downloaded it.
It's called like Valiant Heroes, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess for like anybody who's listening or watching, Valiant is doing like another digital game. It's going to take the place of Quid. So I don't think they've been putting out any new material on Quid yet. So maybe Quid is going to die down. I know that the Valiant Comics Madefire app is discontinuing also, but I don't use that either. So, and I don't like the card games. I hate Quid. That's just like the biggest like time waste there is.
Yeah, I never got into Quid. I'm okay with like I really like the Ninjak Versus card game, the actual physical card game.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I'm not. There's another one out.
Well,
Oh,
here's
Jason's clarifying. This other new one actually comes out later this year, so the
okay.
new one isn't out yet.
Okay. I was gonna say the main issue I always had with Quid is that Quid would give you like a set. Like say they'd be like, here's a bloodshot set, and you have to get like 15 different cards for the bloodshot set. Well, the first card and the second card there'd only be like 300 of, and then every other card in the set there'd be like 10,000 of. So then you'd be like, oh man, I've got 13 or 15 cards, but you'll never ever get the two that you don't get ever. And it just sucked. And then if there'd be like, hey, here's a new set, dedicated to say like Gen Zero, and you can get these special packs for like a certain amount, and then they'd all just be sold out, and they're never gonna make more of that pack. So it's just like it's just stupid. I hate Quid. Fuck Quid. Quote me on it.
I will. All the times that I have conversations about Quid, I will make sure to quote you.
Josh, fuck Quid Rathbun. Okay, that's me.
Perfect. Perfect. Um, have you? Oh yeah, that's right. You did play the Ninja versus game. You played it before I ever had it.
The card game, yeah, it's awesome. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
that card game rules. Whenever
Yeah, you
we
know what?
like,
It's
whenever we
way
actually
better than
physically
this
meet,
Catalyst Labs one.
what's that?
I was saying as I cut you off, it's way better than the Catalyst Labs game.
Yes. That Catalyst Labs game is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. There's so much like content in that game, but it is the mechanics of it make it like impossible to play.
Yeah, you gotta just play it with like roommates and leave it up forever and never put it away and then just chip away at it like day by day until you're like 50. It just seems like it takes forever. But the little figures inside are nice. Like the
Yeah.
little figures that you get. And like you said, it's a really nice package of content. It's just too hard to get into it. The Ninja game is way better. It's got a lot of cool art on it too. All the cards have art. It looks awesome, and I like the use of photos for like the characters.
Yeah.
Except I don't think they had them for Shadow Man. I think Shadow Man was the one they didn't have.
Yeah, the only one that they didn't have a character photo from Ninja Versus was Shadow Man, which
Which
is
is
a
too bad because
bummer.
he looked awesome in the show.
Yeah, he
Damien
fucking did.
Poitier, I think that's his name. I might be butchering it, and I apologize if I am, but he looked awesome in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked amazing. I thought that they did. I recently rewatched Ninjak Versus, and I still love it. Like, I still love Jason David Frank as Bloodshot. I still love Derek Thieler as EXO. That end of the first episode when you see EXO put the suit on, and it'd be cool if they had a higher budget and you could have seen that more specifically. But still, the way that they did that and then had him fly across the screen, like Livewire is fucking amazing. I still watch that and just am absolutely in awe with how perfectly Sierra Foster did that. Um, I still like Roku. Like I know a lot of people thought that, especially the white eyes with Roku, a lot of people didn't like. I still love her. I still think that the worst part about Roku in the whole series to me is when her eyes go normal again. Like other than that, I absolutely love her.
One person I really like in it is a Colonel Capshaw. Colonel Capshaw in the first episode is very awesome.
She's awesome, but the main issue that I have is she says Exo Man of War.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't know how he writes it. Like, remember maybe like when they take attendance and he's there at like gate or at like MI6 and they're like Colonel Capshaw. She's like here. Maybe someone like said it with like a cold and like man of war, and she's like, oh, that's how they say it. I was wondering. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So then now it's stuck in her like her conversation piece. So,
That might be a little bit of a reach, just maybe.
but I do like it a lot. I do feel like you're kind of like the super fan of like the Ninjak Versus series because you do like it seems like every once in a while, like on your Facebook, you talk about it, like on your normal Facebook,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Yeah, I
awesome.
like to post it and try to get people to watch it. I've gotten a couple of friends that aren't into comics or Valiant or anything to actually watch it. And the feedback seems to be what I would expect. I mean, they don't know the characters, so they don't get everything that we get as fans of the characters, but it's they still enjoy it as a good story. They still think the production value is um, on par with that like CW TV shows. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Do they also say Exo Man of War when they see it?
I have not heard that one yet. I always talk about Bloodshot and Ninjak because Michael Rowe is also badass as Ninjak in that. And then, so the ones I always talk about are Bloodshot, Ninjak, and Livewire because those are my three favorites, four favorite portrayals in that.
Yeah,
Um,
I one thing I think that kids a little overlooked as far as that show goes is how awesome the fight between Ninjak and Exo actually is. Like that forest fight. Like I feel like it doesn't look that bad. That's just my opinion. Like looking at like the CG being as cheap as it is, I think they pull it off rather well. And he does. And like Derek Theler is awesome as Exo Man.
yeah, he just
Um,
has the look for the character, I thought.
yeah, I think so too. And he's huge. Like in real life, he's gigantic. Just
That's
by
the
like
other thing that I think is funny. Like when you see them all standing around in the church, um, he makes it look like Jason David Frank is a little dude. You know what I mean? Because like everybody else around, especially Exo Manowar, but everybody around, including Shadow Man, they're all just huge. And so it looks like Bloodshot is a tiny little dude, but he's
he's not.
not. Like he's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, it's just that like those people are all big. Like Derek Theler's like 6'6", dude. He's humongous. He looks
Um,
big. Like when I saw him at WonderCon, and I mean he's way tall. He's way taller than me. I had to look up to talk to him. It's kind of a bummer though. Is like it seems like the fandom is kind of like died down a little bit on the show, and it's too bad because I know for a while people were like sending me messages about if I wanted like a hard copy of the show like on DVD, like people were gonna try and like bootleg Ninja versus the Valiant Universe. And I kept saying like, no, I don't need it, I don't need it. But now I'm like, shit, man, I wonder if someone did make one because I'd like to see like what they did. It'd be kind of cool. See if they went and found some extras to make, like to make a nice packaged DVD or Blu-ray or
oh,
whatever.
sure. Yeah, as far as I know, the only stuff that's out there is just the episodes all edited together as a movie. But yeah, you
Yeah.
can watch that on YouTube. That's the way I watch it. Jason was mentioning in the chat, in our live chat that he's seen, that the edited movie version is on YouTube and it's really good. I really like it that way. Um, Watching the episodes as they came out was fucking awesome. Like that was really cool way. That was a really cool way to experience um Ninjak versus for the first time to kind of get the episodes. It gave us the whoa, buddy. It gave us the opportunity to do the stuff with Hoodoo, recapping the episodes and all this other stuff, and then now getting to go back and watch the whole thing as a movie. It's I don't know. It's fucking epic, man. And like, especially that's our only representation of the characters on screen right now. I mean, they're filming the Bloodshot movie and all that stuff, but the one representation that we have of Valiant characters in live action, in motion, is Ninjak Versus. And it's fucking awesome. I
Yeah,
don't know.
something that you touched on lightly that I think is actually really awesome is that for however long that got made, the week it came out, it just seemed like so many people associated with the project were willing to speak to people. Hoodoo TV did interviews. We got to do interviews. It was really cool. There was a lot of people that were talking with the casting crew of that. And and in a way, it feels like that's the only time we're ever going to get that kind of like moment where like something like a Ninja versus or a TV show or anything like that happens, and those people are talking to like everyone. It's not just like comic book resources. It's not just Newsram or IGN, but it's people like us. It's people like Hoodoo TV and Outright Geekery or things like that. And other podcasts out there that are associated with Valiant. Like it was just a cool moment where you got to hear nearly everyone associated with that talking to somebody. And I feel like, unfortunately, we're probably not going to get something like that again.
No, I totally agree. I mean, the fact that Armstrong, Roku, Livewire, Master Dark, um, all of these characters, all these actors that portray these characters came on, um, Hoodoo TV, Get Valiant, talked to other, podcasts and did a bunch of interviews and were active on the fan boards, responding to messages. Aaron obviously was really, really active in the boards and talking to everybody, answering people's questions and stuff. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to get Vin Diesel on Get Valiant when the Bloodshot movie comes out, right?
Thanks,
Like,
Jason. Come on, Jason, get it happening.
yeah, I mean, unless Jason follows through and actually makes it happen, but no, we got to get Henry on it. Henry will make it
Eric is
happen.
dying to give you variant covers. If you
I
do that.
know. I just want to give away my books, and all you got to do is get Vin Diesel on. Um, but yeah, Jason said he tried. But I also agree with another thing Jason said that it would have been cool if Valiant would have capitalized on all the publicity they got that week that Ninjak versus was coming out because so many people were talking about. It. I say everybody because everybody in the Valiant community, but we also had so many people from outside of what we know as the core Valiant fan community. Um, we had so many other people coming in and Jason David Frank brought fans over, and Michael Rowe brought fans over, and John Hennigan brought fans over, and other people just having heard about. Kevin Porter brought fans over for sure, because he's known really well for a lot of the Batman stuff that he's done, and yeah, I mean, so him bringing his fans, like I think that if Valiant would have been able. I don't know why they didn't, whether it was a choice not to or they just weren't able to logistically, but for whatever reason, like if they would have been able to capitalize on that week more, I mean, can you imagine how crazy everybody would have gone if at the end of that week or like within the next week after it was all done, they had announced that there was going to be another Ninjak versus, right? Like a sequel. Like imagine how crazy everybody would have gone. And we would have all been foaming at the mouth. But for
Yeah,
whatever reason,
I think a lot of the problem is just that it was so hard to get that thing to happen, and at that time, Valiant was going through a big change. That's when we were getting the new regime was popping up, and I feel like if maybe you still had Dinesh involved, and Dinesh just loves to do everything possible to get promotion for the brand. I think there's a possibility, small one, but I think there's a possibility that something else could have happened. I think it would have been actually better though to have something like involved with the books, like that week would have been like the week if they could have planned it that way, which they couldn't have. They didn't have the time to do it. But if there would have been like a book that would have been a great introduction into like Valiant, whether it's like Bloodshot or Shadow Man, Exo Man, or whatever it is, But unfortunately, I think that just like with the timing of it, and I kind of think that Valiant didn't expect fans to react the way they did, also, because the whole talk was that it was just going to be gone. It was going to be there a week. After a week, no one was going to see it again. And then there was a lot of talk about it. I think I wrote an article about like what's going to happen to the episodes. There was other people that started writing episode or stuff about it too, like asking Valiant like what's going to happen with this stuff. And now it's stuck around. People aren't taking it off of YouTube or anything like that. I think it's great, and it should definitely be there. The way that Valiant should capitalize on it though is they should just sell like a nice DVD or Blu-ray of it, where it's already made. It's not like the quality you're seeing on YouTube. It's like something just a tad bit nicer, like if you put the actual physical copy in your player. That's what I wish they'd do. Something with a bunch of like commentary and like character bios and things like that. That's the way they should capitalize on it, because then they could at least make some more money off of it. Because I'm pretty sure having it on YouTube, they're not. It's great exposure. And I mean, I've got the files downloaded. I'm going to admit to that. I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, I'd buy a DVD of it.
yeah.
That's the thing I would want.
Dude, okay, I've already bought from DCBS. It's still on the way here. I haven't gotten it yet, but I have a copy of the graphic novel coming, the trade paperback. So I already bought the physical issues of Ninjak Versus. I bought a copy of the trade paperback, but I guarantee you, if they put out a DVD of Ninjak Versus and packaged it with the trade paperback of the comic, I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, yeah. I've got all the issues. I At some point I'll get the trade. And I think I'm just gonna wait until the next time they're at Valiant is at a show that I attend. Hopefully it's Emerald City, and then I'll probably pick up a lot of that kind of stuff.
So Jason says that he was more excitement or had more excitement for Ninjak versus than Infinity War that month. So he is a true Valiant fan.
Ooh, ooh. Well,
Jason Falter. So
Jason, real Valiant fan, Falter. I'll give him that. Like, because I'll tell you what, man, we do this podcast. A lot of my life is focused on like Valiant when it comes to comics, but I was looking forward to some Infinity War, and I'll admit that. So one up for him, man. That's cool, you know.
I will agree, though. I mean, like I was just as stoked, if not more stoked, for Ninjak versus than for. Honestly, no, I was more stoked for Ninjak versus than Infinity War. And a big part of it, though, is not only that Ninjak versus is the first time we're seeing these characters portrayed in live action, but also that interaction that we were talking about earlier. The fact that we actually got an opportunity to talk to Aaron Schoenke, right? And people, even though we couldn't have everybody on the podcast, all of our listeners and watchers and everything, and we had quite a few people tuning in, those people still had the opportunity to chat, in the live chat and ask them questions. And I think we got to like every question that people asked, and we're actually able to communicate those. We got to hear from Sean about how he came up with the theme song. Like there was so much going on, and we were able to do so much with that. Um,
You know
that
what I just remember though was like maybe the low point of it, even though it was still cool. It was the fact that there was that first interview we did with Aaron Shanky where we couldn't get him to, it wouldn't work. So
yeah,
like we had to like have a speaker, like we had to have like your cell phone up to like the microphone very like close, and he had to talk very loud into it.
yeah, that was lame, but he's still like
He
if he
still
was a
did it.
if he was a diva or had like a I'm a big star mentality, he could have walked away from that and I wouldn't have even blamed him, right? Like,
No.
but he has no ego and no like superiority complex. He just was like, okay, this is how we're going to make it work. This is what we have to do, and we can tell people about this because he loves what he does. He isn't just, you know, making his movies and videos as a way to like, oh, look how cool I am and the people I get to work with. He just actually enjoys what he's doing, and that really came through when we got to talk to him.
That is true. That is true, and hopefully, at some point in the future, when the movie of Bloodshot gets a little bit closer, we can somehow trick Dinesh into getting on here and talking to us about the movie. And just because, like, to me now, Dinesh is no longer like the dude at Valiant. He's a movie producer in Hollywood, so it's like I want to be like, hey man, like come like slum with us for like a night, just for like one night, come hang out with us, talk the
Yeah,
movie, let
totally.
us know something,
Yeah.
spoil one thing for us, that's what I'm looking forward to. Hopefully we can get that going.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love that. Never got to do that when he was still working at Valiant, so it'd be really cool to do it now.
Yeah,
But anyway, I suppose we can actually get to the books that we're going to talk about.
let's talk about this week's books.
So we've got Faith Dreamside, we've got Harbinger Wars 2 Aftermath #1, and we've got Exo Manowar 19. Am I remembering that right?
I believe that's correct.
So if you're cool with it, I'd like to talk about them in that order. Uh,
Yeah, let's do that. And just so anyone listening knows, either right now or later on, we do have spoilers that we talk about. So if you don't want to get spoiled, you still have to listen to the show right now. But like, just be aware that we're probably going to ruin it for you.
yeah, but they'll still be good to read anyway. But
You
hopefully
should
you've
have
read
read them
them.
yesterday. God damn it!
Yeah, you should have read them yesterday or 5 minutes before we started the
Like,
episode, like I did.
just here's the thing, man. Like, it's usually about 6 o'clock on a Thursday night for me. That's when I read the books. Maybe you should do that too, and then you can come into it really fresh, like I will when we do these
Yeah,
podcasts. Come on, fans,
come on. Why not do exactly what we do?
be like us. Okay.
um, so one thing that okay, so we're gonna start with Faith Dream side. One thing that I really liked about this book is I feel like not only are we still getting Jodie Hauser, who clearly really gets Faith as a character, we've got MJ Kim doing art, And this art style to me is perfect for Faith. It looks a very similar to Marguerite Sauvage. I actually thought that the Marguerite Sauvage cover for this issue was MJ Kim because they do have similar styles. And I say that in a good way. I mean, they're both, different and they do their own thing, but they both have such a beauty and this like flowing grace to their work that I think it fits really well with Faith. And it was one of the things that made the issue so fun.
I agree with that. In fact, what I actually thought was that it looked like if Marguerite Sauvage had a big manga-esque kind of approach to her art, because at times I did think like, man, this just feels so much like Sauvage, but I also thought it feels a lot like a kind of like a cool manga style.
I
But
can I can see where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
like, especially in the faces, I thought that there was a lot of cool stuff going on. One thing I think that this issue did really well was that if you had never read Faith and you're like, wow, what's going on with Faith? Like she's kind of got like this Clark Kent thing going on. She's apparently wanted by the cops, for murder. I think the first couple of pages did a really great job of recapping the previous ongoing so that it would catch you up really fast on what's going on. There's the faithless, they're aliens, part of them, some of them are aliens, and they framed Faith for a murder. You get right up to date on things so fast. I thought that they did a good job of that.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like tedious exposition, like a lot of times, getting caught up on. I think that that's something I've noticed that DC does really poorly is they put really bad exposition editorial lets really bad exposition slide, it seems like over there. And I felt like the exposition in this book was handled really, really well. It tells you, um, I've read all the Faith stuff, as it came out. So even for me, like, even though I already have known what was going on, I thought the way that the exposition was presented, it made it feel comfortable to me as an existing reader to not feel like I was being pandered to with information that, you should know that I already know this. But it also was like, okay, cool, refresher. Yep, that was all the stuff that happened. This is where Faith is now. And it was also nice because when the Faith ongoing ended and then we got Faith in the Future Force, it made me wonder if there were going to be ramifications for Faith, after everything that happened in her ongoing series. So the fact that this picks up while she's still dealing with the consequences of everything that happened made me really, it's nice to still have that continuity, but at the same time be moving forward. So I don't know. That was another thing that I liked about this book.
Yeah. So I mean, like this was a cool issue. Like so, like just a little bit of a brief like recap of the issue is that you know, um, Faith is trying to deal with like being more of a civilian personality as opposed to like a superhero. And at one point, there's like a there's a big uh, accident on the freeway or the highway. She goes to save the people, and as she does so, the police arrest her.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, a giant kaiju shows up, which was awesome because it was Animalia. And I love the Animalia stuff too. Like I think that actually Jody does a good job of doing dialogue for her. I
Yeah,
love the little like
I think that I would want to say that Jody, even in the little bit that we've gotten Animalia here, I think Jody is my favorite Animalia writer since Dicer.
oh okay. Because one thing I liked about it was there's a little bit of a discussion when they first meet up and Faith's like, I'm wanted by the police. You can't take me away from the police. And then she's like, Monica Jim's like, I'm a terrorist on a bunch of watch lists. And that's way cooler or something like that. I just thought that's great dialogue. I like that a lot.
That was
Um,
amazing.
the only thing that was a bit of a bummer for me on this one was that like there's a big bit of it that's going to involve Dr. Mirage, and you only get to that at the very very end of the issue. Like it's just like the last issue. Like oh, I know exactly who to go to like solve your problem, Monica Jim. And then it flashes to that, and then it just ended. And I was kind of hoping that we would have gotten a little bit more out of it than that. But I mean, it is what it is. It was still a great issue. I mean, and
I
that's actually just like about as minor of a complaint as I would even have about the writing on this. Is that I wish we would have gotten more Dr. Mirage. It's
See,
not
and
even a
I actually would say that I like how that was handled, because my thought process when I was reading that was it felt like if they would have tried to shove Dr. Mirage in earlier in the issue, it would have felt shoehorned in. You know what I mean? The way that everything flowed through the issue everything still felt natural, and it gives that opportunity to end the issue on a cliffhanger, hopefully bring everybody back for issue two, which I'm sure is going to be just as good as this issue was. Honestly, like I remember when I got to see the preview. I don't remember what issue it was in the back of, but recent like last month they ran a Faith Dreamside #1 preview and some of the back some of the issues, and I read that and was like, that preview immediately got me super excited to read this book, and it was exactly what that preview made me think it could be, and that's, I mean, again, I'm not really the target market for a faith book, but as much as I possibly could be enjoying this book, I am.
Yeah. But and I think my whole thing about like being disappointed by it is just that I'm trying to like read a lot of books right now, and I try to write about books. I'm still trying to keep my writing going on, and I've just read a lot of books lately where I feel like I had wished a little bit more had happened towards like the overall plot in the books. So it's like that's why I'm kind of saying like it's not a real complaint. It's just like I've just read a lot of stuff lately where I feel like I just wish they would have gotten to like a little bit more of it. So it's not even like a knock. It's just my own preference. But
Sure.
this was a great issue. I love the art on it. I like the story. Jodie is just awesome. She should just continue to write Faith forever. I don't think
Yeah,
it'll happen just because she does seem to have like a lot of work at other publishers. But I do think that this is a character where she's got a good voice for it, and she is capable of putting Faith in like really great situations to that like end up being like worthwhile as far as reading goes. I do have complaints sometimes in the past where Faith's villains have not been up to snuff, so to say, where I felt like they're just a little too soft. Nothing like that here, but I'm just bringing that up because I said it before. So like I totally will own up to it whenever it happens. My complaint or my critique of it.
sure.
But I have a pretty high score of this. I do like Faith. I don't know who the target market is on these books, but like I always enjoy it. I like Faith's adventures. For me, this is a 4.5. I really like the art. I like the story so much. Everything's really good with it. I thought the coloring worked really well with MJ Kim's art. I don't know who the colorist was on this, but to me, it just really worked. And yeah, I mean, like, let's get issue two out there soon.
Yeah, I'm honestly right there with you at a 4.5. Like a lot of times I try really hard to find reasons to like bring my scores down because I don't want it to seem like I'm inflating them. But honestly, like this book was so well done. Um, it makes me want to give it an even higher score than that. But I think 4.5 is fair. It was really, really strong. Um, I think, kind of like you had pointed out, Faith and Amelia, both of them were amazingly well written. The exposition was so well done. I would agree with you that MJ Kim has a little bit of like a manga type feel to the art, but as much as I don't like that style normally, it didn't detract anything from this book for me. I loved, honestly, I actually really liked the little moment where it was like little crayon drawings of characters when Faith is like, well, I can't do that and I can't do that. I just thought that was really cool. It was kind of a callback to when Marguerite Sauvage was doing those like fantasy sequences. And Faith just seems like the perfect character who should have those little asides, those little cartoon sequences in her vision. If we're looking at life from her perspective, that is a perfect thing to throw in there.
I agree with that.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, super strong book. Really excited to see where it goes next. Um, uh, what were we talking about next? Was it Aftermath #1?
I think we were going to do Exo next, and then you want to do Aftermath.
Now let's do Harbinger Wars 2 and then EXO.
All right, let's get it out of the way.
What we didn't talk about is the Faith covers. And
Oh, right.
that one that I said was Sauvage, I thought was MJ Kim at first. Beautiful. Absolutely what you would expect from Sauvage. That other one, I don't. Which one is this? Oh, Sibylline Minette. I'm not sure if I'm saying that name correctly. That cover is absolutely beautiful. I think that that's a really amazing rendering. The uh, pre-order cover, super good drawing of Faith, and
Yeah,
then
I like I like the pre-order one quite a bit. I like the A cover on this one a lot too. But I mean, overall, I'm actually pretty happy with all the covers on this one. There was some good work on these.
I'm not a huge fan of the Adam Polina cover. I think
It's
it's
all
rendered
right.
kind of weird, but it looks weird. The longer I look at it, the less I like it too. So I'm gonna stop
Well,
looking at it.
let's move away, move away. Just
Move on, move on. So and then Harbinger Wars 2 Aftermath #1 had that amazing live wire on the cover of the pre-order edition, and I don't have that one up in front of me right now, but I just remember that cover was amazing.
yeah. There's also I don't know if I'm trying to think which one it was. You're not talking about the one where it's like the United States and then like the stars kind of make like the silhouette of like her face. I think that's the A cover.
Yes, that's the
It's okay.
Raul
That one's
Lemon one.
okay. The pre-order one's nice. But here's my thing. I think Valiant does a great job on the pre-order editions. So for me, it's almost unfair for me to be like, oh man, like the pre-order one's a great one again, because I feel like they kind of reward the fans for doing the pre-order editions by having like top-notch art on it. Like with Bloodshot Salvation, we had Ryan Bodenheim doing all the covers. They look great. And then, Brian Bodenheim has done like a bunch of like the EXO ones. They've had Kenneth Rocafort. No, maybe it's just Rocafort who's done all the pre-orders for EXO, and they all look great. So I feel like the pre-order ones always look awesome, and it's almost unfair to be like, I like those ones the best. I'm a lot more impressed sometimes when I like the A cover, and
Yeah.
with EXO, which we'll talk about in a bit. I love the EXO A cover on this one, and I thought the one last month where it was like the floating head of Auric with Luis LaRosa's pencils was just awesome. And I feel like sometimes those covers end up being 1 in 50s. The ones that I like so much, and I'm like, oh man, I want to have that cover. I don't have $50 to like throw out at it just for the cover.
Well, speaking of La Rosa and his EXO cover, he did a cover for Harbinger Wars 2 Aftermath,
Yeah.
and that Bloodshot fighting Ninjak cover is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. That is just gorgeous. Um, and then the Felipe Masafera, I mean, it's like it's good, you know, but it just doesn't like it's not a dynamic cover. It's just a bunch of characters' faces, which cool, but
I like his work. He's definitely like a really talented artist. But I also felt at the same time like there's just like those covers don't really like impress me as far as like the whole like what's going on with them. They're usually just like a cool pose, like someone standing in some rubble or like someone flying or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, they're nice. They look really good. But like, I don't know. I would take Nico or LaRosa over him or
I
even or Juan Jose
completely
Reed for
agree.
you.
Yeah, Reap.
I mean, like for instance, actually one thing that's actually kind of shocking to me is I think there's the A cover for the upcoming Rising Spirit series is a Felipe Mesavera one. And it's all right. It's just like a back shot pose of Bloodshot holding a gun. But then like the Doug Braithwaite one is fucking killer. It's so good. And it's colored really well too, where I almost feel like, damn, whoever did the coloring on that, do that to his interiors too. It looked awesome.
Um, okay, so getting into Aftermath, um, to me, I mean, this was clearly a wrap-up issue. It read like a wrap-up issue. It was a couple pages
Yeah.
here, a few pages there, kind of just telling you what was going on with everybody after Harbinger Wars 2, which I mean makes sense. But honestly, so Jason is saying that he really enjoyed Aftermath. He felt like the wrap up didn't forgive the problems with the rest of the story, but got him really excited for Livewire and actually changed his viewpoint on the whole Harbinger Wars 2 for the better. Like he feels now, like after reading Aftermath, that the whole series is better. And the crazy thing for me is that I'm exactly the opposite. Um, Reading through from the prelude all the way through issues 1 through 4, I felt like I really enjoyed the books, especially like I enjoyed them more and more as each issue came out. And, um, you know, the quality of the books made me forget about all the things that we had, been promised and the things that were teased and all these, like hype building things that had been done. I kind of was able to forget about that and just read the series for what it was. But I felt like the way that Aftermath wrapped up the event, it just reminded me of all the stuff that they didn't do that we were told the event was going to do, or that the event was implied to do. And yeah, I mean, so that made me like basically was a big reminder to me of all the failings of the event as opposed to a way of wrapping it up. I will agree with Jason that I'm super stoked for the Livewire series. I think that's going to be really awesome. And then the biggest confusing thing for me, as much as I like to let there be a little bit of looseness with timelines, I really don't understand where Bloodshot is supposed to be at in relation to his books. Because if you look at the timeline,
I would assume after what we see, this has to happen like after after uh salvation.
can it though? Because after Salvation, he still has a wife and a kid to take care of and a dog.
I
You
thought
know,
the thing about this issue is like the Bloodshot moment was like one of my least favorite things about this because it just was like it just seemed like something that was just thrown in there to be like, hey, remember Bloodshot? He's in the Valiant universe. Here's 2 pages about him, and to me, it was just like this is like the most pointless like
well,
little
because he
like
was in the event and he, came back together from nothing or whatever that was, and they were showing him kind of falling apart and dealing with all of his memories, which were basically
yeah.
all of the Bloodshot Reborn stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be between Reborn and Salvation. Um, Maybe it's after Salvation. It's clearly after Reborn, but I don't know.
There were other. I mean, like there was some good and some bad. I actually rather like the Pete and Snowbeard moment where like Pete fixes him, and Pete's just awesome, you know. But like at the same time, I also thought like the scene between like Ninjak and Livewire were like they're boning. Like I just thought it was so awkward. It was just kind of a weird moment in the book, and I don't know. Like I could have done without it.
It was a little bit awkward for me as well. I don't know, man. I don't have a ton to say about it. The art I thought was good. Like it wasn't. I think for this whole week of books, this was the weakest art wise. And I would also say it was the weakest writing wise. So for me, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, this book is a rough one for me. I'm gonna say, it's not like terrible or anything, so I'm not gonna give it a really low, really, really low score. But I mean, it's like, I don't know, a 2.75.
Man, I thought my score was going to be low. Yours is actually lower than mine. I'm actually just going to go at 3 with it. I mean, like the things I liked about it just weren't enough of. Like I liked the whole thing between Arik and Livewire because I think that really like the only person there's only like a couple of people in the entire universe that can really like try to like throw salt on like Livewire's game. Arik's one of them. Harada's the other one. He's not going to do that. Pete maybe, but you know the thing is though those are all allies for her like in her fight. So there's really like it's good that like she's everybody's on her side, and I like that, and I like whatever like little thing that she put in the satellite at the beginning. And I like the fact that we saw the secret weapon kids again, but for the most part, I thought it was just such a kind of a dull issue.
Yeah, it sounds like we've really shocked Jason. He was not expecting that low score, those low scores, I guess.
Still love us, dude. Okay, we're all good.
Yeah, no, and here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and this is why I wanted to go from Aftermath to EXO because I was loving Harbinger Wars 2 until we got to this Aftermath issue, and now it's kind of soured me on it. And I'm going to say that this new EXO issue is doing pretty much the exact opposite for me on the EXO Manowar run from Kint, because this new issue is, I mean, it's almost more a Colonel Capshaw issue than it is an EXO issue. EXO's kind of like a background character in this, but the way that it's all written, the way everything comes out, the art on this, I mean, this was an amazing issue of Exo Manowar, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought this was a great issue. And one thing I liked about it, like you were saying, like it's Capshaw's issue. So you see everything kind of like reflecting upon her. You know, the failed moments of like how Harbinger Wars went down, and then her having to recruit Arik to go into like Australia. Which I mean, I feel like once they mention that, is basically that's the only place that anybody associated with divinity can ever go with Australia. Unless
Yeah, no,
unless
I
they
actually
did
noticed that right away when they said Australia at the beginning of the book. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I just feel like maybe like Kent has just got like a hard on for like Australia. He's done like a bunch of research on it. He's like, you know what? Anytime Divinity shows up, Australia in the
Australia,
outback.
yeah.
But it was awesome. Like this was a great issue, and I feel is like the thing that's really exciting about this to me is that like I feel like it's been a long time since I've been this excited about an issue of Exo Manowar. I love this issue. This issue is awesome
Yeah.
because and the thing is like I felt like it really delved deep into Capshaw. She's not just like some like Nick Fury esque type character. Like to me, like she seems way more human after like reading like her like the first half of this issue. I mean, it just kind of made you feel a little bit more sympathetic toward her, like for like what's going on in her life. Where she's got to be like the commander of like all this stuff, but at the same time, then like there's like real human repercussions for like everything she's done. So I thought it was
Yeah.
great. The only thing that is so weird about this book to me, and I'm just like, why is that the thing you chose to do? Especially on a week where we followed the Bat Dick, is like Arik sitting in his cabin, butt naked, like just sitting there like a creeper. Like what in the hell is this? And he's just like, oh, Capshaw's here. Come on in. By the way, I'm butt naked.
I think he's just like pissed, dude. He's so pissed right now. Like when Capshaw watched him go over and try to talk to his ex and her new man,
Oh,
like
I like that, but I'm just saying, like, who's just pissed off sitting in a chair butt naked in a cabin? Like, it's just weird.
he's just that mad. Like what else is he gonna
He's just
do?
that intense that he's just like, clothes, no bother. I'm gonna rage all day.
Well, because he doesn't need clothes. He's got the armor, and he's not wearing the armor because he's still kind of mad at the armor because it's the armor's fault that he broke up with Sana and that she's with this new guy and all this, all the other stuff that's happened to him. He kind of blames on the armor. So, so he didn't want to wear that, and he doesn't need to put clothes on. So he's just sitting there, pissed off, waiting for something to do or a good excuse to go over and get mad at Sana again. And I think that's funny. And it not only is it kind of funny and humorous to me, it also humanizes Erica or Arik rather a
I
little
was
bit.
just gonna say that, like I feel like that is such a like humanizing moment of him, where like he can't always be the diplomatic like
Yeah,
leader of the like Visigoths. He's got like real emotions too. He's not just a pissed off naked dude sitting in a chair. No, like sometimes he can like smack the berries out of her tray, that he's got that she's carrying around.
he's not just a pissed off naked dude. He's a pissed off naked dude with real feelings.
Yes, he's letting his emotions out, man. It's awesome. No, okay, I joke about all this, okay, because I do think like it was kind of a weird moment, but like at the same time though, like this entire issue is awesome. Like the whole thing where like they have to use like a little bit of strategy to investigate this ship that's just floating in like Australia. And one thing that also I really liked about this is throughout like the last like 5-6 years of Valiant, okay, since they've been publishing, Sean Hart is like the most badass weapon in like existence, right? Nothing can like mess with her. She can detect everything. The Torment showed up and she like was able to like absorb all this knowledge for Arik, so he learns all these things. But at the end of the day, there are things that Sean Hara can't detect. She couldn't detect these people necessarily. She couldn't detect their energy or their attacks. And Arik is kind of caught off guard by when they attack him. I thought that was a great moment because I feel like you can't just have him be the most powerful thing all the time. There's got to be things that add to the mystery of like the universe. There's got to be things that the armor's got to be like, I don't know what that is. I don't have knowledge of that. So I thought that was another great thing.
I totally agree with you. Sorry, I'm typing in the live chat right now. I'm
It's,
kind of ignoring
it's cool. You got to type.
you. um, Boom. Okay. um, no, I totally agree with you. I think it's cool to kind of it just emphasizes how much these characters from the unknown, it just emphasizes how unknown they are. Because if you think about all that knowledge that Shinhara has from all of her time with the Vine, and then gaining all that information through the torment, and to still have someone, um, have this technology and these energies that Shinhara knows nothing about, it legitimizes the threat. This is the type of threat that we need in an Exo Manowar book and in a Unity book, honestly. And it, I don't know, it I'm struggling for the words. It just shows like how otherworldly the unknown actually is because it's almost, separate from our universe somehow in a weird way. And okay, the other thing that was really exciting for me that I wanted to make sure to mention was that that female character that they showed before they showed Divinity. Because of course, when they showed Divinity and Auric was like, "Oh, I know that guy. He's one of my friends," they were like, "Fuck you! You better die right now." Um, which I thought was a funny reaction. But the that female character that they showed, I feel like is gonna come back and play a part in the later issues of this arc, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. From the first page to the last, Juan Jose Reeves' art was amazing. Something
Yes.
Jason pointed out that was really awesome was the Laura Croft look that Capshaw had going on. She's kind of Tomb Raider Capshaw, and that was really awesome. Um, and then the writing on this issue, the whole time I was reading this issue, I was thinking, um, this is some of the best stuff that I've read from Matt Kint that isn't Divinity. Because his Divinity writing is amazing. And it's not that his other stuff is bad. I mean, he wrote some amazing Ninjak stuff, but I feel like this issue is him showing how good he can make an Exo Manowar book. Because I really haven't been enjoying this. Like the last arc, I didn't love, but it was more enjoyable to me than any of the previous stuff Kent had done with Exo. But this issue has me so excited for the future of this title. I think this issue was damn near perfect, if not perfect. Yeah, I mean, like I said, everything from the way that it was written, the way we learned more about Capshaw, the humanizing elements, both for Capshaw and for Auric. It's just, yeah, this is an amazing book. I loved it.
I have one question about this, and I feel like by asking this, I might be like tipping my hand to not knowing everything about Valiant, which is okay. I don't pretend to know everything about the characters. Was this the first time that we knew that Capshaw was gay? Like, where her girlfriend just bails on her? Because I'm trying to think about it. I had been meaning to read back through EXO, the previous run, after I saw the preview of this. And I was like, I don't remember this coming up. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. And I kind of feel like with the way that Capshaw is so driven by her career, that that's like with the loose end that has to be with her life, where the thing that she's gonna have to neglect is just like normal human companionship. But it was one of those things where I was just like, oh, like I've never thought about it. Like I never thought that like she had someone in her life because she's such a military person. I just assumed she was just like a loner, and maybe that's why obviously her companion is leaving her is because she's such a loner. But I was just curious if they'd ever established that prior to this issue.
I don't think because Capshaw has been so much portrayed as that kind of loner hardcore military character because prior to this issue I think the closest we ever came to actually learning personal information about Capshaw was that I think it was like a one shot issue that Venditti did during his XL run that really or no, maybe it was like issue 25 or an annual or something like that that was like had a bunch of different stories packed in issue 50 even maybe I don't know um but that was the closest we came because we got some stuff in whatever issue that was about kind of her past and I don't remember the specifics but that really wasn't like Jason is saying we've never seen her go home before, right? Like
Yeah.
the way it sounds like she shows up and her girlfriend is leaving and it sounds like Capshaw hasn't been home in months.
Yeah. So two other things that we didn't, well, two things that I didn't talk about yet. One of them that we didn't talk about though is that this is actually the 75th issue that BEI has put out of Exo Manowar. which is
Right.
pretty cool if you think about it, because EXO was the longest run that they had, 50 issues, and the one shots that Venditti did. So this is a big, I think this is a big milestone for a company, especially one that has like so little like market presence. It's awesome. Second thing I want to bring up, and I don't know if you'll know this reference, especially if you didn't watch the show, but to me, like Capshaw's boss seemed exactly like Odin Quincannon from Preacher, but the comic book of Preacher.
Oh no, the first thing that I thought of was the comic version
Yeah, I
of.
was like, holy shit, it's the Meat Man.
Yeah, dude, I was like, dude, that's totally Odin Quincannon.
Yeah,
He didn't remind me of the
I hope
show
he's got a
version of the
woman made out of
character.
meat in his closet that he's just like laying it to.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that I thought was interesting was like, who the fuck is that guy and why is he Odin Quincannon?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. So, real quick, my score. My score on this is even though like Ark is a naked creeper, I'm giving this a 5. I love this movie so much. You don't even know. I was so excited to read this. I probably read it like 4 times. I really liked it a lot. And I'm just super excited too for the rest of this storyline. It actually got me really like jazzed on like Exo Manowar because it already seems like he's not going to be like just like the tough dude that just walks through everyone because they're not like on his level. Like he's met his match, which is awesome, and
Yeah.
he's a keeper. So 5 all the way. Awesome book. That's how
Um,
good this issue was. Is that I was so bothered by that, and I still love this issue so much.
I'm actually also at a 5 on this issue. I thought that this issue was just, like I said, front to back. The art was perfect. The writing was so amazingly well done. There was such intense character work done in this issue, and it was done really, really intelligently. It was done artfully, not kind of just like here's stuff that we want you to know about the character. It was done with a lot of emotional impact, and then it still managed to squeeze in some really badass action at the end. Capshaw climbing that rope at the end makes her so fucking badass because she's like, oh. These guys are powerful enough to beat up Exo Manowar. I guess I better run in sleeveless to help.
Hey, and one thing I didn't talk about that I really like too was that first page. Like I think the first page of this book really set the
Yeah.
tone of the story really well. Like it just kept zooming out on her face, and all you see is like the wreckage behind her and all that kind of stuff. Like I thought Kent just did a hell of a job on this one, man. So
And
awesome book.
yeah. There's a lot of really awesome covers on this one. There's like one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 covers. Plus, does that include the oh, that does include the pre-order.
Yeah, as I
Not
say,
as big of a fan of the pre-order on this one. Um,
I like the A cover. I like the Miko cover is awesome.
That's what I was just gonna say. The Miko cover, and then they did a black and white version of the Miko cover, and both
Yeah,
of those are really, really awesome. I think the La Rosa cover, that's kind of like a throwback to. Oh, that's the Volume 5 cover. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. I was gonna say that's weird. Who is this one? Oh, Renato Gaitis had a really awesome cover. I thought that one was really cool. Yeah, the Kenneth Rocafort A cover. Um, what is that B cover? I thought the B cover was a little bit weird. It's Alan Qua. Um, there's just some little like wonkiness to Ark's face and a little bit of the anatomy stuff. But
where
other
do you
than
pull
that,
your
it's a
covers
really
from?
cool looking. Huh?
Where do you pull your covers up from when you're looking at them?
I'm on Newsarama back from
Oh,
when the
okay.
solicits came out.
I was gonna say I think I'm not positive. I think it's Kevin Bolesky who's over on Valiant Comic Fans. I think he posts all the covers every week in a post.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I didn't bring that up.
That's
Um,
okay. But my favorite one on this was the Miko cover. I thought that thing looked awesome, and it looks great in black and white. Like I've looked at the image a lot. It's awesome. Great cover. I know some people don't like the way that the logo works with Exo Manowar on this volume, where it like takes up like like a third of the cover. I personally still like it, and I like the covers from it too. So I thought that Miko one was the best of the bunch.
I think almost all of the cover, like so, all of the covers except for the B cover, the Alan Qua cover, every other one bleeds into the logo, and I think that's really cool. I think my
Yeah,
favorite of this one is the Rocafort one. Actually, I really like that cover. The Miko one's great, but that Rockefort one is the best one to me. But yeah, um, such a strong issue. And like I said, I've been really bummed about this whole series so far. So for this issue to be as strong as it is, to and also Capshaw's a badass character, and it's really cool to like. She's never had her own book. The closest we've ever come is Unity. Um, and maybe that's where I saw that story that I was thinking of for Capshaw. But anyway, this was such an amazing book to kind of put her front and center, and have her problems be Arc's problems and vice versa. And I don't know, man. This to me is like Valiant at its best.
Yeah, I agree. Great issue. And the thing is, to me, like X. I mean, I know we've been talking about this issue for a long time, but to me, like characters like Exo Manowar, Bloodshot, Shadow Man, they should be the strongest characters as far as like the story potential. They're the flagship characters of this universe. Faith is a bit too now, but Faith's a bit of a newer character. But I like seeing Exo being handled so well, where the story is really strong, because he's a character that I think when people talk about Valiant, he's most likely going to be like one of the first characters that people think about. So awesome stuff.
That's like Bloodshot and Exo. You know,
Yeah,
those are I think really the biggest two characters. Um, so yeah, it's nice that this can kind of I feel like I'm confident now again pointing to EXO as like a tentpole book, you
mm-hmm.
know, whereas I might not have been previously. So I don't know if Valiant actually has any books coming out next week.
Are you kidding me? No books next week? They might not though. It's New York, but I mean, holy crap!
Oh,
Will there be an episode 100 next week? Who knows?
yeah. I mean, are we going to do an episode 100 with no books?
We'll see. We'll see if we can get a cool interview lined up, and it's
Yeah,
not to get on it. We'll do it.
yeah.
Because
Somebody
I mean,
get me on the
I don't know
phone.
if we want to do just a standard regular episode. We'll see. I mean, we've had some hopes of doing some stuff, but real life has definitely gotten in the way for me, where it's limited, like what I've been able to bring to the episode.
Yeah, I
But
can I can
we'll see.
imagine that. You got a lot of stuff going on. Um,
But we'll
but
see, man. We'll see.
even though we don't have books coming next week, some Jason is pointing out is there is a lot of really awesome stuff happening at Valiant with all the books right now. I mean, yes, Ninja K is ending, but it's still in such a strong place. Shadow Man just seems to be getting better and better, which is amazing because it's already really good. Faith has started out amazing. Livewire is coming up, and that looks like it's going to be really badass. EXO just got really good again, in my opinion. Um,
We've
uh,
had too many weeks this year where no books have come out.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Man, that's been worse than ever, man. So,
I don't. Yeah, I wish there was something I could do about it, but
same here.
um, But but either way, even if we don't have books to look forward to next week, we'll decide whether we're doing issue one or episode 100 rather next week, or if we'll wait another week.
We'll
Either
figure it out
way,
soon though for people who follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We'll try to like figure that out in the next couple of days, just because we don't want to be like, oh, by the way, it's Thursday, episode 100. Like we want to hype this shit up. We want it to be a special episode.
maybe another
I'm
reson to not do an episode next week and give it another week so we can
and
pump
maybe
that bad boy.
yeah, and I know that like I've been talking with Valiant about getting something for a giveaway. They're really busy with New York Comic Con, getting ready for that. But I mean, it sounds like it could happen. So we'll just see. Just keep an ear
Sounds
out to like what we do, and we'll let you guys know.
sounds good.
Yep.
Well, thanks everybody. I know Bulldog 42450 tuned in like right at the end, which is kind of a bummer, but hey, at least the whole episode is still available here on YouTube for you to watch.
Yep. And you can
Thank
badmouth us after we leave, which is
you.
even we won't respond live on the air. So
True
if
story.
you have any critiques, that's when you do them.
Thanks to William for hanging out. I really appreciate Jason hanging out with us and
Yay!
chatting. Um, Jason is working on getting Vin on the phone, so he'll let us know.
I'll throw some books your way too, man. You won't even you'll we'll make it worth it if anyone does it.
Yeah, anybody who gets Vin Diesel to come on, get Valiant, Josh and I will send you some books worth
Oh
some
yeah,
money.
I'll send you some shit you wouldn't believe, man.
And if they don't get Vin on, you can just send me that stuff, Josh. Don't worry.
Oh, I can't do that. I'd have to hear about it like forever myself, and I'm bitching about it to myself all the time about how I don't have those books anymore.
Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us, for watching, for listening, and watching afterward. Um, yeah, 99 episodes down, and episode 100 is coming up. Whether it's next week or the week after, it's coming up pretty fast. It's crazy.
Yep, 99 episodes, and Ben Diesel ain't on one of them. So we'll just we'll just see.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody. Signing off. I'm Eric Baumgard,
I'm Josh Rathman.
and I hope that you all stay valiant and love everything they release.
Ditto.
Peace.